NANI?! I have you now.
Okay, everybody, welcome to Georgian Otakus. I am Brandon. This is my buddy Tim, who is ex-Army. I am ex-Marine Corps, and pretty much we're nerds and we want to talk about shit and maybe hate on the world a little bit too. What do you say, Tim?
I'm down for that.
Cool. So, Tim, why don't you go ahead and start us off a little bit of who you are?
I was born and raised here in Georgia. Uh, Joined the Army right out of high school. Got out as a B5 sergeant. Moved back home and started streaming and going back to work in the civilian sector.
Cool. Um, I myself, born and raised in California. Yay, California. Joined up with the Marine Corps Reserves. Yay, me again. One of the best and horrible experiences at the same time. It's fun working in the civilian sector and having to be in the military at the same time. Go have fun with it. Um, I myself was 0811 Field Artillery. Tim, you were, what was it, mechanic, and then switched over to MP, correct?
I was a 91 Bravo with vehicle mechanic, and I had a reclass to a 31 Bravo, which is military police.
Cool. I myself only been out of the country with the military once to a training exercise in, ironically, the Republic of Georgia. Yay, me again. One of the shitty backwaters right there in the middle of the melting pot, which is right next to Russia. And go figure, things are happening right now with another Russian former country and Russia itself. So let's see how long that country remains. And then, Tim, your deployment history?
Went to Afghanistan 2013, 2014. Then went to Korea in 2015, 2016. And then I spent 6 months over in Africa.
Cool. At that point, which one did you love, hate the most?
I would have to say Africa.
So you love, hated the shortest one.
Yes. And for that reason only, it was short.
Wow. Let's get into the fact of why that why the short one's the worst one, because it's short, but okay. So that's pretty much us in a nutshell. Um Pretty much how we met. Well, we're two big ass nerds. We had Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic come out in 2011. I think it was December of 2011. I picked it up, started playing it, went in 2012 for boot camp for the Marine Corps, came back, doing what I needed to do for the reserves, trying to find a job, playing this game nonstop. Eventually, me and Tim ended up in the same guild. And being military, being nerds, became good friends. We've known each other for what, somewhere between 7 to 10 years now.
Yeah, something like that, 7 or 10.
And at this point, currently, I am renting a room from Tim. He convinced me to come out here after he left the army, come to Georgia. I was getting tired of California. Yay, California. Yay. So now me and him are both here in Georgia. And it is way more beautiful than California. But then again, I only ever lived in Southern California near Los Angeles. Not much beauty there. A lot of hobo piss. Not a lot of beauty. Well, on that note, Tim, shall we talk about world events?
I'm down for that.
Okay, so, Tim, I generated some questions for us. or at least for you. We'll go into a little yes or no, and then we'll touch back on some of them in a more detail. So let's start with this. Yes or no? Should the US join the war with Russia physically?
No.
No? Cool. I'm on the same vote with you. Do you think sanctions should have started sooner rather than they have after they started invading the Ukraine?
Yes.
Okay. I still agree with you there. Do you think all of this is happening more off because our current leadership is failing?
Most definitely.
I super agree with you on that one too. Do you think our economy will not bounce back until this current leadership is gone?
Yes.
Kind of agree with you on that one too. This is kind of a side note, but still touching the economy. Ending the Keystone Pipeline. Do you think that is the greatest mistake so far? And let me put some emphasis on that. The Keystone Pipeline was something that's supposed to be done in the US, connecting oil from the US up into Canada, which I'm pretty sure probably would make it easier to transport oil also from Alaska through Canada down to the US, making it much more easier for us to get oil for our needs and Canada's. So, do you think that pipeline is, at this point, one of the greater mistakes of the current leadership?
Yes.
Cool. I agree with you on that one too. And just to put some thought out there, I traveled across country during December. Those gas prices during that time were fabulous. I literally have gone through the country, and at one point, gas was almost $1 in the Midwest. I think traveling through the US at the time I did was a very good idea because the gas was what it was. When I came here, the gas station right outside the neighborhood was only at $2.10. And what are we now, Tim? About 350?
Yeah, like 350, 360, something like that.
We've doubled and almost have now tripled the cost of gas since I've been here, and it's only been a year and 3 months. So it says a lot. Okay, now here's an interesting question, Tim, especially since you are a history buff. So, very specifically, do you think it sounds like Russia is still making a lot of the same mistakes that it does when it comes to war? Let me put it a little bit more on that. Russia during World War One and World War Two, they have a vast amount of troops in both wars, but technologically wise, they were lacking. But Russia did not care about how many people they sacrificed as long as they won. Do you think that is still kind of showing up in the news reports that we hear right now with them against the Ukraine?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, as you heard. I've heard that it seems like there is a lot more Russian casualties than Ukrainian casualties at this current moment. You hearing the same thing?
To a certain degree, yeah.
Okay. And I mean, I can't say that we know much about what their technological military advancements are, but I mean, I'm pretty sure we've seen ours. Ours are pretty damn good. Do you think Russia still has enough technological military advancements to combat with us if we actually were to go to war with them?
No.
Now, here's a big one. Big question for you and for me. If, by God, if the current leadership, like Ukraine is doing, asking their people to enlist, if we were to push, physically push, and join a war effort, would you re-enlist? And remember, let me before you answer, remember it's under this leadership that you would have to re-enlist. Would you still re-enlist?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, I think yeah, mine would be a yes to a maybe. I really don't want to be under this leadership, but if it's fighting back, rejoining and fighting back along people that I would like to fight with, well, fight alongside, and yeah, fight with them because yeah, it's a big clusterfuck in the military. So it's fun fighting with each other and then fighting the enemy at the same time. It's always fun. If you were to reenlist him, what would you do? Would you just say I'll go back as an MP, or would you say just go back as a mechanic again, or would you want to do something else?
Mm, I probably wouldn't even go into the army to be honest. I'd probably go into the navy or something.
Okay, so at that point, what would you kind of want to do at that point, or would you have to like really look at the job listings?
I'd have to look at the job list.
Any aspiration?
Get on a boat and stay on a boat.
Okay. Um, I was field artillery, literally trudging around, driving a cannon from point A to point B, jumping out and placing it, lobbing rounds. I love that job, but I definitely don't want to keep doing that job for the rest of my life. It's backbreaking work. Currently, I'm in the aviation industry, moving planes around, shit like that. I would be more than willing to reenlist, like you, get on a boat, move planes around, and things like that on an aircraft carrier. Sign me up. Moving on an airfield with the Air Force, sign me up. I don't know how much I'd really be able to do that in the Army and the Marines. If they do have it, okay, but I think my first option would be I'm gonna go do it on an aircraft carrier if I have to reenlist or I was asked to reenlist. But under this current administration, uh, I don't know. The I know just like you, Tim, when the pullout from the Middle East happened, I think me and you were on a very similar anger level at how it was done. I know I didn't get as angry until the bombing happened and we lost those 13 service members, especially since it basically was a squad of Marines that got hit. Yeah, there was a corpsman. He was Navy, but a lot like any other branch, those docs, they're part of you. They're doesn't matter if they're a doc and they're in the Navy. They're with the Marines. We honor them as a Marine. We respect them as a fellow Marine. You don't fuck with Doc, and you don't let anybody fuck with Doc. But it's hard, I'd say, that to join under this leadership when that event happened, and definitely lost any ounce of respect of current leadership when those service members came back. They, in my opinion, didn't get as well of a treatment when they came back than they deserved. Anything to say on that, Tim?
No, not really. I don't have anything else to say on that.
Let's take it off to a more well-hearted topic. One of our favorite, Tim. Put a smile back on your face. Let's talk about some anime.
I can do that.
Cool. So currently we are in March, early March, and there are several shows still going on right now. But we don't want to get into the nit and gritty of those ones because they're pretty much almost over. So we'll be talking hard about some shows come April when they start up. Tim, you want to take the first one?
Yeah, give me a second. I'm pulling up my site.
Okay, I guess I'll start. I'll go with our first one. Probably the most intrigued one that we have for next season in spring. Shield Hero. What do you say, Tim?
definitely looking forward to that one. But honestly, the one I'm more interested in seeing is the fourth season of Data Live.
Really? You think Data Live will be more entertaining than Shield Hero? That's interesting.
I mean, it's just my personal take. I like Data Live. Don't get me wrong. I like Shield Hero, but I'm more intrigued in seeing how this fourth season of Data Live is going to play out.
Um, if I recall, I did watch the third season of Data Live. For some reason, it seemed a little bit of a cluster. It didn't make too much sense to me. I am intrigued to still watch it, but in my opinion, Shield Hero will be the more intriguing of the sort. But then at the same time, I think my preference for anime would be romance and I'd say action when it comes to my like top criteria. Next would be mecha and military. If you don't know what mecha is, basically it's robot stuff. For anybody that does not know what that is, so when all of those combine, oh, it's a great show for me. What about you, Tim? What are your trend picks for topics?
I can't really pick genres. I pretty much if it can hold my attention past the first two episodes, I'm I'm hooked on it. I don't really care for the genre. It's just gotta have a good storyline. For example, another one I'm looking forward to, honestly, a little bit more than Shield Hero is the fourth season of Kingdom.
Ah, yes. You know what? I have to give you that one. You put on that show, I come in and you have it on, I walk back out that room. I'm back out the door. That show is nothing but yelling to me, and I cannot stand it.
Yeah, it may be yelling to you, but it's got a good story to it, so I tolerate the yelling. Like I said, there's all kinds of ones coming out. To be honest, but since we're already on the topic of anime, do you want to talk about how Funimation and Crunchyroll are finally starting to merge their libraries now?
What was it on that note? What was it? Sony. Sony is the originating owner of Funimation, correct? Wasn't it that it?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it was what is it? Early last year, early 2021.
Mm, something like that. I'd say maybe closer to mid to like late spring, early fall time frame. They announced that they were gonna acquire Crunchyroll, and then just the other, I think, what was it? Just last week, I told you that they said that they were moving some titles from Funimation over to Crunchyroll in terms of starting the combination.
Okay, so that's basically it's basically been a year coming. Sony has owns, which we didn't really know that until we looked a little bit more into Funimation and Crunchyroll. But good old Sony, don't just hate Microsoft, hate Sony as well. Sony has been acquiring studios themselves, and I guess they like the anime scene, so they have Funimation, which is, as far as I know, more of an American company. They are a company that simulcasts over here all the Japanese shows more off into the American market. Crunchyroll was basically one of the primaries, as far as I knew, for getting Japanese animation shows over here. There was some live action stuff on there too. I don't think people watched it too much, but Funimation also, one of their big key demographic things was dubbing. And if you don't know what dubbing is taking those Japanese shows and putting them in English, which is gonna make everybody hate me. Tim. Everybody's gonna hate me, but I don't mind dubs. There are some that I prefer Japanese over dub. Um, Sword Art Online is one of them. The first season of Sword Art Online. I hate that dub that they did for the first season, but I love watching it in Japanese. It is The voices are great. The acting to me is more spot on than the dub. But for the most part, I watch dubs, and like I've explained to a lot of my friends, I watch dubs so I can continue doing things as I am watching the show. It is for me. It is a little hard to sit down and watch an anime, eat my food, and be able to just have everything know what's going on at the same time. Most of the time, whenever I watch anime, I I don't do anything. I stop. I sit there. I watch, and I can't do anything else. With the dubs, I can kind of multitask a little bit and still gain all the knowledge that's happening. Tim, do you really care, or are you more off fan of just subtitling?
I prefer the sub. Dub, there's no real good voice acting for me anymore. There's a small handful that I'll watch dub, but that's only because the voice acting is actually is kind of decent. Beyond that, it's more just having to do with the the sound and whether or not the characters are coming to life or their tones match their character's disposition at that point in time of the story.
Okay, I got to give you that one. I think one of the things, and I've told you this many times, Crunchyroll, they do a great job on transitioning those anime shows into a dub format, but they need to get more actors. You can tell if you've watched any of the dubs from Funimation, at least more than 5 different shows, you are literally getting these same voice actors basically each time. They don't really have a wide pull to make it more interesting. It's pretty much the same voice actors almost every single time. They do a good job, but sometimes their acting is not as great. Well, I think the Japanese animation actors, I think they do get a lot more into it and could do a better performance. I mean, you got shows like what is it currently out, Tim? I think it's My Dress Up Darling.
Yes, that that one is amazing.
Yes, that one. When it comes to romance animes that hit my liking, that one is a good one. It's very lighthearted. It's a lot more. What can I say? It has it's more down to earth, I'd say, than a lot of Japanese high school anime usually are. But the story is great. It's written very good. The animation is great. I love the animation. The acting from the actors is spot on. As of right now, the dub version of it, the acting is doing really good too. The voice acting is doing great, so I don't mind watching that. But I mean, I still love that show also when it's just subtitles. Anything else happening right now, Tim, that you've been watching?
No, nothing else I've been watching really. I mean, most of it's just kind of like touch and go for me at this point.
Was Attack on Titan still going on right now?
Yes, and they need to get their fucking shit straight. They're pissing me off.
Oh, really? I was wondering why I haven't heard you talk anything about it.
Yeah, no, they're being irritating. It's like
Oh,
they're focusing more on like you know minor characters at this point, and
so in other words, what I'm hearing is that just like I normally tell you, there's a lot of talkie.
not really talkie, more just like useless backstory.
Okay, so it sounds like they're more off. It sounds like they could be. Normally, when I see animated shows doing stuff like that, is because they're budgeting. If they're doing a lot of minimal stuff, just talking, conversation wise, they're trying to limit the amount of animation that they do. So if there's a big fight scene towards the end of the series, they're gonna push all their profit into animating that ending episode.
Look, all I know is spoiler alert. You know, they've started the Rumble and they haven't progressed any outside of the island, and you have not seen Aaron since he gained the Founding Titans power. And it's kind of like, I don't give a damn about all these other people's and their sorry backstories. I don't care. Speed this up. I want to see the action. I want to see who's gonna be alive by the end of this.
Okay, well, yeah, at that point, it does sound like they're probably budgeting then for a good final probably 2 episodes. What episode are they currently on?
I think right they're on episode 10 out of the final season, part 2 of the final season. So I'm assuming there's going to be at least, hopefully, another 3 episodes.
You say they're at 10 right now?
It's a good copy.
Okay, well, at that point, there's 12, 13 episodes that are supposed to be happening for Attack on Titan. So I wouldn't doubt it if probably today's or next week's episode is probably going to be when the action really starts kicking back in.
God, I hope so.
What was it, Tim? How many anime seasons have or how many anime series have you watched and you're like, "Oh, next week is going to be this." And I'm like, "No, it's not. It's going to be like this." And you're just like,
I hurt you for bringing that up.
"I am very good at ruining Tim's parade." He comes up, "Oh, this happened. This happened. This happened." I'm like, "Okay, you know what next week's episode's going to be? What?
You
It's going to
shattering
be
my dreams.
it's going to be like this and this." He's like, "No, it won't." Come next week, he comes barging in. "I hate you." Why? Because they did exactly this, and this. I'm like, "I told you."
I hate you.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
Japanese
not.
production, you need to get your shit together. I should not be able to tell what the next episode is going to be when it comes to an action series.
You're not sorry.
No, when it comes to spoiling your mood, no.
Bastard.
Hey. It's just logical, okay? You have a major action scene. The next episode is going to be nothing but two people talking. And then, just like any kind of romance school anime, guess what? There's always going to be a beach episode.
And I'm okay with that.
No, I am not arguing with the beach episode. I enjoy the beach episode. I'm wondering though, is this whole smashing a watermelon an actual cultural thing in Japan though? That one has me questioning.
No idea. But gotta hope so.
We gotta hope. We gotta hope somewhere. Well, on that note, Tim, any other things of anime that we need to talk about right now?
No, you got me looking at the new at next month's anime seasons coming out, and I'm me likey so far.
I mean, when it comes to when it comes to the winter anime, uh, the only one I'm like truly in love with is My Dress Up Darling. That's the only one I'm like, oh no, wait a minute, Tim. We almost forgot my love hate relationship one.
No, no, no.
What? Do you know which one I'm gonna talk about?
I have an idea. No,
What is it?
the the one where all they do is talk and it bugs you.
No, I have no idea which one you're talking about. Oh, you know what? You're talking
A
about
realist born as realist. Re,
yeah, you're talking about realist hero. Talking about realist hero.
Yeah,
Yes, that one.
is that your love hate one?
No, that one. Oh god, that one's a loathing one. I want to like it, but there's so much damn talking in that one that I'm just. What is it there?
What's your love hate? Go ahead, spill it.
My love hate. More off the first season. I loved it and I hated it at the same time because the animation was just so crazy.
Oh God, you're not talking about From Commonplace to the World's Strongest Star. Yeah,
Yes. Yes, from Commonplace the World's Strongest Season 2. I love the anime, but God, that first season was so hard to watch. Every episode, every main monster was a different animation style than the rest of the entire series, and it irked me so bad. But that was a series that I could not get enough of going back and watching again and again. This season is doing pretty good. Um, the only thing that I hate is that they don't have Miyu anymore. You don't got anything to say about that?
no, not really.
But they took out the Little Mermaid girl.
No,
God, you're cold hearted.
exactly.
Oh, and then this one is a very liked one that I have. Lee Dale.
I can get behind that one. That one's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not in love with it, but I like it. It's a good little series to have. And I'm pretty sure also, oh damn, I don't know the English translation for that one. Uh the 100-man army dude. Knows what I'm talking about, Tim?
So what?
Kenja no deshi no no no. Kenja no deshi wo nanoru Kenja.
You're hurting yourself too much there, Bo.
Still said it better than you would have. Oh, that's what the title is? She professed herself pupil of the wise man.
Yes, that's a good one too.
Wow, that's the name that they came up with that anime. God almighty.
Moving on.
Someone needs to be fired for making that the name of the anime. Enough talking about anime, Tim. Are you sad?
Yes, you're bumming me out now.
Well, guess what, Tim?
What?
Star Wars. The thing that brought me and this gigantic oaf together. Yes, it was Star Wars.
If only Disney didn't butcher it.
Dun dun dun. But Tim, remember, we have the saving grace, the dynamic duo themselves. We have Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni currently heading up the Star Wars train.
It's not the only thing Disney did right there.
I can't agree with you more, Tim. Cannot agree with you more. But for this topic, we are specifically going back onto some old Star Wars, but shockingly new Star Wars, the Book of Boba Fett.
I can get behind that.
Definitely. So, Tim, let's just get a quick rating from you. What out of 10 do you rate for Book of Boba Fett?
7.
7? 7 out of 10?
Make it 6.5.
Ouch. Let's see. Out of 10, you know what? I'd have to agree with 7 out of 10. What makes you push them so low, Tim?
The fact that instead of seeing Boba for a couple episodes, I had to deal with the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Well, that was one of my main gripes right there as well. You had the Book of Boba Fett. We were supposed to see Boba Fett. And we got 2 episodes of basically Mandalorian 2.5.
Honestly, if they just stuck with Boba Fett, I'd been happy. I would have given it like maybe an 8.
Yes, I agree with you there. I mean, there are some little nitpicks here and there, like some of the story wasn't too great in my opinion. The whole factor that oh my god, I just blanked out. The Sand People. Somehow the Sand People are just all gone. All gone. Come on. This is the Sand People of Tatooine. They ain't all gone. They're still there.
No, it was just that one tribe.
Yes, exactly. It's just that one tribe. There's no way Boba couldn't have met up with some other tribes and communicated with them, gained their unity to his cause. This is Boba Fett we're talking about here. If anybody can do it, it's Boba Fett.
Meh, debatable.
Man, Boba Fett is awesome. Um, One of the big things that I did not like about the series was a lot of the. I think it happened more off just towards the end. That final episode, there was a lot of posing. What do you think?
Too much posing, not enough action.
Agreed. I mean, seeing those big ass droids was awesome. That was awesome. I'm pretty sure they spent a lot of budget right there. But
I mean, it's Droidekas on crack.
pretty much. Actually, from what I heard, those were actually some old concept designs. I think they said from before episode 1. Those were some old concept designs, which Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are very known for at this point, from digging deep into that archive and pulling out stuff that already existed, and they just bring it to life. They finally give it its due. What do you say on that one, Tim?
Yeah, I feel I'm mutual on that.
You're neutral on that.
I'm not a fan of all the new stuff that Disney's pushed out with Star Wars. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, yeah, it's great that they're heading it all, but I'd like to see the old legend stuff compared to this new crap.
I can't agree with you more on that. And as far as things have been rumored, it sounds like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are going to be kind of heading Star Wars, but we will see. I have not heard anything concrete. But I gotta say, which probably is one of your favorite times of that entire series, the big surprise that they had right there at the end.
Cad Bane,
No, Cad Bane was cool, but to truly pay off, that Rancor was epic.
oh yeah, the Rancor is pretty badass.
That was epic. The fact that you just see Boba and he just goes, "I'll be back," and he takes off to go get help. It's like, oh, I know what he's going to get. You got some big droids. What can take on a big droid? A Rancor. That was goddamn epic to see a Rancor fighting some big ass droids. And being from California and being a man from the San Fernando Valley, it was my pride and joy to see none other than Danny Trejo as the Rancor Wrangler when that Rancor showed up at Boba's door.
That was pretty cool.
That was epic to see. Not a big star, Mr. Danny Trejo, but he's a star that I respect highly. He grew up in the San Fernando Valley and he still lives there and he does a lot for the community. Never gets big roles, at least not really huge ones, but the man is a staple.
Machete.
Huh?
He's Machete.
Exactly. Any role he does, you remember him. And now he's a man from the San Fernando Valley and he's inside of Star Wars. There's not many people that could say they came from the San Fernando Valley and they were in something like that. Gotta respect that man.
Much respect.
Agreed. Well, on that note, Tim, you bring up the old canon.
Yeah, I did.
So, at this point in time, what would you say if you had Disney before you? What would you be telling them that they need to make right now?
The Thrawn trilogy.
The Thrawn trilogy. Now that sounds exciting. At this point, we have a hinkling that they might do it. They might do it. I think Dave Filoni wants to push back into Thrawn because he bring it into Rebels. And he did basically hint it inside of, what was it, season 2 of Mandalorian? I think it was.
I have no idea, dude. I don't even remember.
The episode that they bring Ahsoka in, that's who she was trying to find when she combated that governor.
Oh yeah. I remember now. Um,
I think
I
Dave
mean,
Filoni wants to bring Thrawn in there. I think he wants to bring him back. So he set it up.
that would be nice, but again, I'd like to see the original Thrawn trilogy, not them having to, salvage this horrible train wreck that Disney has caused.
I gotta agree with you. I mean, I'm pretty sure, just like you, I was excited for Star Wars to be coming back to the main stage again. Excited.
Oh yeah, no, I was extremely excited, and then 7, 8, and 9 came out, and I was completely and utterly broken.
I gotta agree with you on that one. My uncle is also a pretty good Star Wars nerd. When 7 came out and I sit there and I watched it, I literally told him, I'm like, what is this? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is just New Hope, but bigger. Like what? I'm like, you went from the Death Star that was the size of a moon. This is a legit planet. It's still the Death Star. It still started out on a sand planet. It still started out with a nobody that apparently is somebody who gets kidnapped by the bad guys. They go to rescue him. And they have to do a trench run to destroy this massive super weapon.
Yeah, that's all Episode 7 was. It was just a complete total makeover of Episode 4. Really, Episode 8 and 9 weren't any much better.
I mean,
Episode
episode 8
six,
was basically just a backwards version
episode,
of 5.
yeah, but at the same time, then you got what was it, episode 8. They finally bring back Luke, and then you kill him off in the lamest way you could kill someone off.
I
You
mean,
know,
yeah, it was impressive. He force wise, as a force ability, it was an impressive feat. He projected himself across the galaxy. That was an impressive feat. You can't get that wrong. But when you go back and look through Jedi lore, Jedi doing crazy shit like that is expected.
the death.
No, I'm talking about doing something crazy like projecting themselves across the galaxy.
Oh, yeah, in the old lore, yeah. In this new lore, I guess it just means the fucking death. I guess it just means the death of you. Honestly, they kind of mucked it up. The way they did a lot of key characters from the original trilogy was just playing out to me completely rude and just straight up disrespectful. Like Admiral Akbar, how are you gonna sit here and tell me a little TIE fighter or little whatever starfighter Kylo was flying in the
No, no,
beginning
no,
of
no,
the
no.
eight?
Don't sell yourself short. Remember, Kylo is not the one that shot the rockets at the command bridge. It was his wingman.
No, it was Kylo.
Nope. His wingman shot the rockets that hit the command bridge.
Oh, my bad. It's the wingman's fault. I'm sorry. Explain to me how rockets are supposed to penetrate a shield that normally would take, a couple of good turbo laser batteries to break through. Explain to me how two little measly starfighters managed to pull that off against a cruiser class ship.
I mean, just
I
to,
mean, if I
I
mean,
mean,
let's
I
say
mean,
got
just just
like
just to make you angry and play devil's advocate. How does an A-wing take out the Grand Star Destroyer?
okay, no. Let's get that one right. The shield mechanisms for that started for the executor were already destroyed, so it didn't have any
Yes, I
shield
give you that one.
protecting the bridge.
I give you that one.
So when the A wing crashes into the brain of this massive ship, I
One A-wing.
mean,
One
come
A-wing.
on. I mean, yeah, he basically kamikaze did. I mean, come on. It's kind of to be expected. You just took out the nerve center of that whole ship.
Yes, but when you look at how big that ship is, to tell me that that little A-wing destroyed the entire controls for that entire ship.
I mean, it's plausible.
It is possible.
It's plausible. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not possible. It's completely plausible. I mean, you never know. I mean, maybe they didn't have a secondary bridge. Maybe the explosion was just powerful enough to knock out, you know, the necessary components from the main bridge to cause it to fucking go down. I don't know.
But then at that point, I think we're diving too much into Star Wars logic, like how two simple torpedoes can destroy the Death Star.
Well, they clearly explained that one. I mean, come on. But hold on. But we're getting a little far off topic now. Now look, I'm all fine and dandy for the Star Wars lot, but there's just some things that you sit there and you go, I can understand that to a degree, but when all they're doing is getting shot at by a fucking like by three little starfighters like TIE fighters, and it's somehow weakening the shield to the point that where two torpedoes or missiles or whatever you want to call them can penetrate the shield of the ship and take out the command bridge and basically wipe out key characters like Admiral Akbar. I mean, come on, that's a little far stretched, and it's a lot of you know donkey crap.
I mean, I'm not going to fight too much on those torpedoes. I mean, I completely agree with you. Those torpedoes piercing the I understand them attacking the hangar. That one I could kind of give them a win on because it's not like the shields are completely protecting that hangar. Things need to fly in and out of that space. So I could give them that one. I can give them that one. Okay, I'll give you that. But yes, the command bridge, I can completely agree with you. The only thing from that scene that I cannot really take is that you had all those people and they just kind of made that scene so that they could pay homage to Leia having force abilities. That's all that scene was to me.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what you can pretty much chalk that up to. And to be honest, not only was Episode 7 a remake of basically Episode 4, but the whole new Skywalker trilogy was just a complete and total remake of the original trilogy. All they did was change names and change the names of places and the situations in which the the you know that they found themselves in. I mean, that's about all you can do.
That no, that's not all you can do. That's all they decided to do.
No, that's all J.J. Abrams decided to do.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Like why he did that and why Disney okayed it, I have no idea. But that was really irritating to watch. You know, I mean, and then to watch, you know, the what was it the final battle in Episode 9. That was just an absolute train wreck. I mean, you have all these Imperial class 2 star destroyers with these giant cannons attached to the underbelly that can apparently take out, entire planets.
Yeah,
That's
basically
just
a fleet of mini star destroyers.
even with Star Wars logic, that is completely and totally unbelievable and unfathomable. Like, there's no way they could have that many with you know planet killing cannons on them. I mean, hell, look. I mean, the closest that came to that in canon was the Eclipse, and that was only good against space stations and capital ships. its main cannon, it's its coaxial, you know, laser cannon could probably do major damage to the surface of a planet, but it couldn't destroy it.
Okay, I'm happy that you bring up the eclipse. That was literally what I was trying to type in and find because I could not remember it. But
Dude, the eclipse. I can tell you about the eclipse right now. The eclipse was its coaxial uh cannon was basically a very small version of the Death Star's uh main laser cannon. That's all it was. And instead of multiple lasers forming one giant laser beam to destroy a planet, it's basically just one big ass laser meant to take out, space stations and capital ships and cruisers. Like that's all it was. Like it was just that's all it was, and it was a massive ship. I think it was even big. If I remember, it was even bigger than the Executor.
okay, so here it is. The Eclipse class dreadnought, also known as the Eclipse class Super Star Destroyer, was a class of Imperial Super Star Destroyer manufactured in the Quat Drive yards and mainly used around 6 years after the Battle of Endor. Like the Sovereign class, they were regarded as a new generation of Super Star Destroyer. Uh, I would have to
Yeah,
bring up the
but
Executor, but basically it's. I guess you could basically say it's the Executor on steroids.
eh, not really. The Executor had more turbo laser batteries compared to the Eclipse. The Eclipse was more like your sniper kind of ship. It wasn't gonna go directly into a brawl, but it did have the means to duke it out. But unfortunately, you
Nah,
never
you could
actually
you
see
could
it.
basically say the Eclipse was your dedicated sniper.
Yeah, but it could duke it out if it needed to. But unfortunately, you're never gonna get it to see it in a movie or anything like that. I mean, and then like I said, you just look at it and it's just the whole Skywalker trilogy is just filled with so many like, eh, I could have believed it, way back when, but now I'm just like, eh, I really don't even care for it anymore. It's like you took something and you rat fucked it. Like you look at uh like the First Order's, ships. Like their primary combatant ship was like two or three times bigger than the dang Imperial a class two Imperial Star Destroyer, you know?
Oh, those they're I don't even I didn't even give it the time of day to try and learn what that class of Star Destroyer was that Snoke was
Oh,
driving around
I
in, but
never gave a damn about it. Like, and then you have Snoke's flagship. I mean, everything they did was just so funky in the Skywalker trilogy, and just they made a lot of stuff just it's like they went out and they found your local crackhead off of the streets of LA and went, hey, we need a good storyline for Star Wars. What you got? And they just took like 20 different crackheads ideas and they just mushed them into one movie and until like three movies. It's complete and total horseshit.
okay, so it's basically when it comes to like random Star Destroyers that they really paid homage to, the only thing I really know of is the Interdictor, which came back in Star Wars Rebels, I think it was. Do you remember which one the Interdictor was?
Yes, I do.
So, for those who do not know what the Interdictor was, it was a Star Destroyer that came up inside of the Empire at War game series, which also the Executor came up in too. And if you watch Star Wars Rebels, the Interdictor, if I recall correctly, the Interdictor made an appearance in that series, and it is a ship that basically can stop light speed travel. Basically, what it was. It didn't really have much use in the game itself. It basically just didn't let the opponent leave. That's all it was for. It was basically a turd ship, but it was so that your enemy couldn't run away, so you could annihilate them. But hey, that's in true Empire fashion. Don't let your enemies run away.
I mean, yeah, but here's the thing. So if you want to look at it, take this for example. Okay, the primary ship that you see the first order operate, right, was the Resurgent class Star Destroyer. Now, mind you, it's a little over 29. It's a little over 2,900 meters long. And it's a little over 1,400 meters wide. Okay, so if you take that and you compare it to, say, I don't know.
You trying to look up the original Star Destroyer?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look up. And you look it up and you verse the Resurgent class Star Destroyer versus, say, I don't know, like the regular Imperial class 2 Star Destroyer, right? Uh, let's see. We'll go with the Imperial 2 class because that's the biggest one. The Imperial 2 class was a little over 1,600 meters long. So you're looking at that's almost basically close to like over a time and a half longer than the Imperial 2 uh, class Star Destroyer. And for them to have so many, it's just unbelievable for them to have them. Uh, at least in my opinion. I mean, the Imperial 2 class Star Destroyer was already big enough, and it was already intimidating.
Yeah, that is true. They at the end of episode 9, you're talking about a planet of Star Destroyers. No matter what, that was going to be intimidating. It was literally a planet chock full of Star Destroyers. I mean, it wasn't knocking it. It was. I'd rather have a planet just covered in basically a planet made up of Star Destroyers that can fly out into the galaxy at a moment's notice, rather than a giant super weapon. I mean, the threat was more intimidating than the First Order's big ass planet, Death Star planet. I mean, it was intimidating. I mean, it was able to do 5 times the damage of the regular Death Star. It destroyed like 5 planets at once. It had to absorb a star just to do it. How many stars are you going to be able to find? How fast does this thing move? I mean, you're talking about something hugely ungodly that can do an ungodly amount of damage, but whatever its trade offs, it's in all entirely it's a big turd weapon. It's an epic weapon, but what is it really doing? In my opinion, it's like it stop it from reaching the star, and it won't destroy another 5 planets.
Well, and see, the thing is what I like about the Legends versus this new crap is the fact that in Legends, uh, instead of getting bigger, they got smaller. Like, for example, you had in Legends, you had what I guess you could call a super weapon. What super weapon, depending on how you want to look at it. It was basically called the Sun Crusher. All it was a little fighter with a special missile payload. It jump in the system as close to the sun as that system's sun as possible. Fire the missile into the sun, and then jump out. And what that missile would do is it would cause that system's sun to basically go supernova and wipe out the entire star system. You know, so and they never had anything as far fetched as, well, a giant planet that can shoot its laser and cross hyperspace, light speed, and hit planets in the other corner of the galaxy. I mean, even then, it still take weeks, months, even for that to even get to them. I mean, if you look at it, to get from one planet to another, it's not as fast as people think. It take at least a few days to a week at most to get from one planet to another planet, depending on the distance. Like, if you want to go from one side of the galaxy to the other side, you're looking at about maybe 2 to 3 weeks at most. No, 2 weeks to a month at most.
I mean, at this point,
So
just
for them not to evacuate the planets and get the hell out, And them just sitting there and be like, "Oh, look at the pretty light coming at our planet." I mean, come on. There's no ingenuity in the new trilogy. There's just none.
I mean, I gotta say the biggest flaw with the new trilogy is why is it why is there still a rebellion? Why? They won. They created the New Republic. Why is Princess Leia still heading up an insurgent team, essentially, with minimal resources to rely on?
Yeah, that's the one thing I will agree on you there. It was bullshit that they won, and she's still having to deal with basically rebellion era tactics and rebellion era assets compared to when that the New Republic now controls the government, and they could have got so much more materials and everything else. It's like you basically made the New Republic exist, but you made it this weak, weak entity that doesn't even need to exist. Like they might as well just been like, well, the First Order controls the galaxy, and that's why there's the Resistance. I mean,
But at that point, you what was episodes 4, 5, and 6 for?
apparently it was just so J.J. Abrams could just go back through and
No, 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 no.
reskin them.
I'm talking about the fact that you had 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 destroyed the Empire, just so that the First Order can come in and you could repeat the whole thing again.
Pretty much. I mean, that's all J.J.
I
Abrams did. He
mean,
just took the original trilogy and just reskinned them. That's all he did, bro. Like, here's my problem: is this new timeline that Disney has come up with, this new canon timeline that Disney's come up with. There could be comics out there that I haven't read or whatever, but the books and everything I can kind of piece together. There's still a lot of unknowns and what happened between this time and this time. At least with the legends, it has a solidified storyline, and what happens between the very end of episode 6 all the way to the point to where they based the new trilogy 30 years into the future. I mean,
and let's not forget though. Let's not forget is that they canonized everything. They canonized everything before episode 7. Or was
no,
it?
they decanonized anything before episode 7. They decanonized. They said it was no longer canon. It was gonna be considered
No, I
lost.
think they decanoned everything after the time point of
Uh,
episode 7.
No, 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 no. Everything before,
Or did they
everything,
canonize?
everything before episode 7, they decanonized. So when Disney bought it, they said, "All right, everything that's happened, books, comics, everything that's been released up till now, is no longer canon.
Okay,
It
here
is
let me
now
let me
legends."
I think now I remember it a little bit more. I think it was they canonized everything from the end of episode 6 back. They canonized.
Yeah, everything episode 6 back. Basically episode 6 through episode 1 was canonized.
And on that note, that is why we are so amped if they decide to do the Old Republic.
If they fuck up the Old Republic, I'm done with Disney.
Oh, if they touch the Old Republic and they brutalize it, for the love of God, you're gonna have all nerds in gaming and Star Wars royally just
Well, I mean, you look
despise
at it.
Disney.
You have a lot of material for the Old Republic already.
Ah,
Well, now you got a fair amount.
no, but at that point, they had a lot of material also to use before they made this malarkey.
Well, okay, yeah, but now that they've officially canonized the Old Republic, they should be able to make good stuff. Now, here's the thing: is depending on how far back, like the High Republic, I'm never really interested in watching. I mean, it's 300 years.
The High Republic is this mini book series so far. I have not tried to dive into it as far as I've kind of seen little tidbits here and there. It's a very big social justice warrior kind of mindset book series. I'm not with it.
Oh yeah, no, then they can kiss my ass on that. No, if they take anything from the Old Republic, for example, say they want to make a movie out of
The Mandalorian War.
I could get behind that now. But if they mess up my boy Revan and Malik, then I'm gonna be
Yeah, but
highly pissed
that's the
off.
Mandalorian War right there. That's them.
Well, I mean, they kind of joined later in the war, but sorry, they kind of joined later in the war. But I mean, that's just besides the
Yeah,
fact.
but
I mean,
they're the ones that basically won the war for the Republic.
yeah,
So
that
you
is
can't
true.
have the Mandalorian War without. I mean, that right there could be your three series: the start of the war, the middle of the war, and Revan and Malik coming in the back end of the series. And then at that point, you could turn Revan and Malik into a spin-off series.
Yeah, but the thing is Revenant and Malik. What all they did was when they left, they went into unknown space. They found the Emperor.
Emperor corrupted them.
Yeah, the Emperor corrupted them. They came back. They're basically going to be like the vanguard for the the Sith Empire's return. But ultimately, Revan's plan was to not be the
In
vanguard and
in
to be
simple
the
Sith
forward.
fashion, Revan said, "No, I'm not going to be a puppet anymore."
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. He said, "I'm not going to be a puppet," and he said, "I'm gonna do my own thing."
And then in simple Sith fashion, Malik says, "No, I'm not going to be an apprentice anymore."
Yep. But here's the thing: is like
And then Revan becomes good again.
that would be a really good TV if they made that into a TV show, like the Old Republic, the Knights of the Old Republic, into a movie series or into a TV series. I could get behind that and I could watch it because that would be a
I mean,
really
at
good
that point,
series.
you can basically do what they did for with between episode 2 and 3 and just okay, here's the start of the Mandalorian Wars. We're going to do a Clone Wars of the Mandalorian Wars in between these two series of movies. Keep on pushing.
That would be pretty cool, and to see the actual Mandalorians,
The
the
actual
true
Mandalorian.
Mandalorians fighting against the Republic and the Jedi and winning
I mean,
would be amazing. I
basically
mean,
let's put an
look at
emphasis on this.
watching Mandalore the ultimate dueling, not firing a light, a blaster rifle at Revan, but actually dueling a Jedi Knight in close combat with a vibroblade or whatever the hell he was using.
And winning.
Would No, he lost. He
No,
lost.
but still, he'd be fighting Jedi and winning
Oh
some
yeah,
battles.
and he'd be That would be an awesome show. That would be something where it's like, oh well, the droids did the same thing. Yeah, but the droids are droids. They're man. You've got living flesh and blood and armor fighting Jedi, not Sith fighting Jedi.
Normal
Regular
people.
regular people fighting Jedi and winning.
And if anybody wants to kind of get a mental image of what we mean by the Mandalorian Wars, basically go back and watch it. I think it's season 6 of the Clone Wars. When you see Mandalorians fighting Mandalorians for Mandalore. Basically that type of destruction, that type of carnage, that type of fighting. The Mandalorians get
Multiply that by like a lot
couple
more,
thousand.
Like so
Let's talk not just a city here. We're talking about an army of Mandalorians.
No, you're talking about like Mandalorians attack, like like the Mandalorian Neo Crusaders, as they were called, they're the Mandalorian Wars, where you know you could take the oath or whatever it is to become a Mandalorian, or sometimes what they like to do is they like to go, hey, take this oath, or I'm gonna put a laser bolt into your head. Like those are your options. A lot of people will take the oath just because they didn't want to die. I mean, it was a very very Spartan like culture.
Yeah.
They believed in honor in war and they believed in honor in battle. Any honor you gained in battle, that was bragging rights for you, man. I mean, any Jedi you killed,
Every day you live was basically bragging rights. That's how that culture was.
pretty much.
Okay, well, I guess let's put a pause on that there because when it comes to Star Wars, we will keep on going.
Yeah. What's our next topic?
Our next and final topic is gaming, and our particular gaming topic for this go around, because some interesting things have been happening in the world of gaming. We're going to be talking about pre-builds. I myself, my first computer, and I'm not talking about the computer my parents had. Talking about the first computer I bought with my own money from a pre-built. I have experience there. Tim, your experience with pre-builts.
Both of mine.
Yeah, both of yours. So I've seen them both. The first one was a Predator pre-built.
That one, yeah, it was great for the time I had it and for what I was doing. But once I wanted to do more stuff like streaming and recording at the same time and playing games, I realized I needed to upgrade very, very badly. Now the thing is
Now, and sadly, you could not wait for me to arrive in December to go and buy this damn pre-built that you currently are using.
no, I wanted it then and there. Now, and the reason I will say I wanted it then and there now is because at that time it was hard to get any kind of 30 series graphics card.
And yes, when you were talking about getting a
And
pre-built, I did specify that when I get there, I could help you build a computer, but graphics cards would be kind of slim pickings.
yeah, that's why I went with the pre-built I got now, and because I gave me a 3070, which at the time was very hard to get your hands, which was very hard to get your hands on a 30 series. Now, this one has been very very good to me since I got it to work. I've
And just a
had
quick pause on there. What was the CPU in that one again? In your current computer?
my CPU is an AMD Ryzen 7 3700X.
37. Okay, so I think what it was is that the Ryzen 5000 series came out around the time you got that. So you probably got a deal, more off a cheaper deal with getting a 30. You said 3700X?
Yeah, 3700X.
And what? How many cores is that one? Okay, 8 cores. Okay, so let's get back on track. So you're having a Ryzen 3700X 8 core processor with a 3070.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and continue from there.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely more than powerful enough for me to do what I need to do in terms of streaming and recording at the same time while I'm playing games. I mean, only thing really I'm liking on right now is desk space because I got so much crap.
Okay, but let's go off of. Okay, so I mean, you got a good CPU. You did. You got a you got a solid graphics card. You did. Your motherboard is not the best motherboard. They kind of undersold you on the type of motherboard you got.
Yeah, I've been thinking about updating that. To be honest.
Yeah, but the only bad part about that is you might have to get a new Windows code because the Windows codes are locked to the motherboards themselves. Which, I mean, quote unquote, you can find Windows keys for cheap. But I digress. Um, but I mean, you did get a pretty solid system. Now, price wise, again, how much was it?
My current build was about $2,100 after shipping and handling.
Okay, so $2,100, and you got, at that point, not the current generation CPU because the 5000 series came out, but it was basically on its way to the second tier, but still a solid CPU. And you got a current generation graphics card, which is good. $2,100. I don't think you got really scammed out of anything, but your experience after you got it is more off what we got to talk about here, because that was a nightmare.
Yeah, it was a nightmare, but at the end of the day, I'm glad with what I got. So
Okay, but let's touch on some of those issues. I mean, what was the first issue? Was the graphics card, wasn't it? Wasn't that what they said?
yeah, the graphics card was bad, so then I had to ship it back. Then they sent me another one. I put the new graphics card in, and then after that one, then it was uh, I had to send back my whole computer because something went wrong with something. I don't remember exactly what they said. So then I was basically waiting for about like another month and a half for me to get my new computer completely back together and back.
And then when you got it back, wasn't it they shipped it without the Windows code logged into it?
Yes.
And at that point, they were telling you, oh, well, you have to send it back again just for them to put the Windows code on it.
Yep. Instead, I spent my own money to get it myself because I was not waiting that long again.
And at that point, uh, what month did you buy the computer, Tim?
Like October, November time frame.
Okay, and then I arrived in the great state of Georgia in December, mid December, just before Christmas. And you didn't get that computer back until after I got here.
Unfortunately.
So basically, it was like a Christmas present.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. It was basically a Christmas present to myself.
Okay, but so on that note, pre-builts, they can be the best thing for some people. They can be the worst thing for some people. Customer service surely is lacking a lot of the times. And a lot of the times they sell you short. So on that note, the reason I bring up pre-built is because of the fact that there was a company. And let me tell you the story again so everybody's on the same page here. There was a company that sponsored streamers. Good thing for them. They sponsor streamers. They gave them a kickback if anybody used their affiliate code. Well, this company decided to hold streams. In those streams, they would build a computer. Go figure. A company that builds computers holding a stream building a computer. Well, the computer on that stream was supposed to be given to one of their affiliates. That was one of the kickbacks that they did. They built a computer on stream and they would give it to one of their affiliates. Well, on stream they decided to say, "Oh, the affiliate that won the raffle wasn't good enough." What counts as not what premise does one have to do to be not good enough to get the computer when they're already an affiliated person with this company? That was the only thing that they had that you had to do, be an affiliate. They were already an affiliate. Well, this person on stream from the company was told they're not good enough, and they decided not to give it to her. Well, they got a lot of backlash for that. I found out about this story because a popular YouTuber that I follow does a lot of stuff with computers decided to build this person a computer because they felt that this company did wrong and they wanted to make sure somebody did something right by her. So they went and they built them a computer even better than the one they would have built her. Yeah, it was a very good computer. I think it was a 5950 AMD processor and I think a 3080 Ti. This chick was getting a bomb computer. Better than what that company would have given. And this company tried to apologize, but it really was a shitty apology. And then I decided to do my own little tiny digging. I looked at their entry-level gaming PC. $1,000 gaming PC. I'm sorry, but a $1,000 gaming PC with a 10100 i3 4-core processor and a 1650 for $1,000? Come on. $1,000. That is half of what you spent for your machine, Tim.
Yeah, that's something I definitely wouldn't want to get, to be honest.
I mean, at that point, for $1,000, you are basically getting your Predator.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, what? I don't want to. I don't. Yes, you have to make money somewhere, but I don't see how pre-built companies have a foot to stand on if they're underselling components like this. I mean, I was able to when I put that build together, it came out to about $800, $900 ish. So at that point, they weren't really scamming too much on the person. But when I put in a 3050, which are available currently, I could have bought one at that time that I kind of pieced that build together. The 3050 versus the 1650 is leagues better. You would have had so much more gaming. And with an i3, okay, i3, not the best CPU lineup. But a 10100 4-core processor, I mean, come on. It'll be good enough to get you into gaming, and eventually you just upgrade your CPU and your motherboard, and you got a 3050. You're not that far behind. I mean, I don't get it. And then when you have to go through the customer service like you did, Tim, I mean, what do you got to say about shit like this?
I mean, honestly, the customer service I received wasn't that bad. It was just more along the lines of, the me being a very impatient fool wanting a new computer after, not having to get when I had the funds to get a new one. But I mean, at the end of the day, I got my computer. The the customer support wasn't that bad, to be honest, for me. No, I mean, honestly, I am looking at maybe.
I mean, it wasn't that bad until they try to tell you to ship your computer back to them because they didn't give you your Windows code.
Yeah, no, that was irritating. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm happy with what I got. Now I am eventually looking at maybe building a second PC, maybe a smaller one. Uh,
You mean me building you a second PC?
I mean, you have a roof over your head, don't you?
Hmm.
You dirty little hooker.
I say again, I'm building him a PC.
Okay, he will build my PC. I will buy the components.
But on that note, I mean, I gotta say, people know when it comes to computers, just like when you're buying a car, know exactly what you're trying to get. I mean, you didn't really look too much into what you were getting with this computer, but when you got it and I saw it, I saw what was in it. I'm like, okay, you got a pretty solid computer, and $2,000 doesn't seem that bad. Now, on that note, I do gotta say, if you are buying a pre-built computer, do not go crazy with buying storage from your pre-built manufacturer. Your pre-built manufacturers are going to nickel and dime you so bad that it's not worth buying extra storage from them. It's an area where you could save some money, and then know exactly what type of processor you need. You don't need a damn 12900K for what you do. I mean, at this point, my current system that I play games on, and yes, I do mean the system I play games on. I have way too many computers, but the one I play games on, it's rocking a 9900K and a 2080 Ti. I've looked up what components are out there. The 9900K, it's still doing very well for what I have, what I do for it, especially if it's just playing games. That's all I do on that computer is play games and watch some YouTube. It does fine. The 2080 Ti still holds up against a 3080, a base 3080. Tim's 3070 is basically just below my 2080 Ti or just as good. There is no reason for me to update right now unless I want to get a 3090. And at this point, I hear that the 4000 series are going to soon come out. You can wait.
Hold on, you said 4000 series?
Yeah, they should be getting announced maybe this year. They might come out next year, but I digress. It's know what you are trying to get. Really pay attention to what you are buying when you are buying a computer. You do not need the top end processor. I mean, even right now, I saw a video yesterday. It turns out DDR5 motherboards with 12th gen CPUs from Intel, they're not doing that great in compatibility testings. So know what you're getting. Get a DDR4 board and get a 1200 processor maybe, because that's more reliable from the DDR4 side. I mean, I looked into it. I mean, there's not much use in going to 12th gen when DDR5 is going to become the mainstream. You're better off just waiting to upgrade at that point. So probably I'll wait to upgrade my system from a 9900K to, I guess, if they call it 1300 series, who knows? But at that point, it'll be 1300 series, new chipset, DDR5. Then I'll upgrade. But as of right now, my gaming PC still goes head to head with Tim's. Know what you're buying.
Mine's newer.
Yours is newer, but mine still kicks it in the bucket. So, I mean, I think I'm more off complaining about the factor of companies. I mean, I've seen a lot. I've seen quite a bit of other tech YouTubers doing breakdowns of pre-builds that they bought from companies, and they're shit. And then there's another series of from tech YouTubers that they also bought discreetly, and they turned around and called their customer service, and the customer service wasn't that great. I mean, if you can build it yourself, you'll save some money. You'll definitely save some money. But also, if you can't get that graphics card because they're in short supply, the cheapest way to get it is by doing a pre-built. Okay, but don't go crazy in getting all the fanciest pieces from that pre-built manufacturer. You know, get lower, get the graphics card you want, hold on to that graphics card for maybe 3 years, and slowly upgrade the other components in that PC. Could be a good bet for you. Pay attention to what you're doing when you get a computer. That's one thing that I'd love to do is mess with computers. Pay attention to what you're doing. And if you're a company that wants to take part in this whole getting people to broadcast your merchandise, you might want to treat them better, or else you're going to get screwed because social media is a bitch. Tim, anything else to say?
No, not really, Bo. I mean, you pretty much hit everything on the freaking head.
Okay, well, on that note, hope whoever listens and enjoys our conversation. I know the Star Wars thing went a little long, and I can't promise that it will not go long every single time we start to talk about it.
That was all your fault.
Yeah, but it was Star Wars. Didn't you enjoy it?
I did, but it's still your fault.
Hey, if it's my fault to talk about Star Wars, I'll take that.
You better own up to it, bud.
Yeah, because it's Star Wars. As long as it's not Disney Star Wars, yeah, I'm good.
We don't speak of that blasphemous stuff here.
Yes, the only movie I give Disney is Rogue One.
I can agree with that.
That's the only pass they have. I do not count the Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau Star Wars stuff as their wheelhouse. That's all those two.
True that.
Well, on that note, looking forward to hear back from people and looking forward to continuing this series. I am Brandon, and this is Tim.
Bye-bye.
Later, peoples. This is Georgian Otakus.